Welcome to Fox Encounter. I am your host, Fox. Please consider taking a few seconds to subscribe, drop a like on the video, and share it with your friends. Stay tuned for more content and enjoy the episode.
And now, suspense.
Yeah, Rebel Moon. We'll talk about Rebel Moon. There we go.
Yeah.
So Rebel
All
Moon.
right. Rebel Moon. We saw like the trailer for Rebel Moon and all like the promo and stuff that they're doing for it. So now that one's kind of like sliding up. But would you say that Rebel Moon's probably like your number one most hype movie for the year?
Oh yeah, easily. We've been looking forward to this for years, man. When did they start working on this? Like 2 years ago?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think they had because they filmed part one and part two back to back. So that was like I think they said it was like 180 days, 200 days, something like that. It was like crazy shoot time. But yeah, it's coming out. I was always excited, but when I saw the trailer, I was nervous because we talked about how basically Netflix movies will sometimes look really bad because like their budgets or there's limited budget. But with and with how big of a scope this movie is gonna be, just sci-fi and stuff, I was worried that it wouldn't look that good. But after seeing the trailer, I'm like, okay, it looks like they're putting real money behind this.
Mm-hmm.
And now with the after seeing the trailer was so sick. And then now after they announced they're having a prequel comic book run too, it's clear they want to like make this into the next big thing, which I hope it is. Army of the Dead was interesting, but I think that's probably his weakest movie is Army of the Dead. And so I want this to be the next big movement, the next big like project. It's not connected to Star Wars like it originally was. So that's I think smart.
Oh yeah.
Now he won't have to deal with the whole backlash of like, well, this isn't accurate. It's like, well, now it doesn't matter because it's his own world now.
Yeah. I honestly didn't even realize that they're gonna do it in two parts. I might have like skipped over that part.
Oh yeah, it's like the very end of the trailer. It shows part one, part two.
Part one, part two. So I'm like, now I'm even more like, oh, okay, yeah. Now I can get invested in something, knowing that there's gonna be more to it. I mean, there's always that like fear that something's gonna flop, especially when it's from someone who I wouldn't even say like you can't even call Zack Snyder that controversial, only because people just make up shit all the time about him for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Like people just have like a hard on for like hating this dude for no reason. Yeah. So there's always that like initial kind of fear of like, what if no one watches it?
Right.
Like, and it goes nowhere. And that would be like extremely painful for me as a fan. And for me as someone who wants more unique things, who wants more like stuff that we haven't seen before in a sense. Something that's trying to be its own thing and not trying to just be, just another like wheel and stuff of everything that's been going on. He's trying to build a world we can get invested into. And honestly, it looks fucking awesome. Like we were talking about that. Like it looks great. Like I want to see what this world looks like. Finally seeing the trailer instead of just like promo pics, and even like the promo pics and like the original storyboards that they put out for like character designs and all that.
Yeah,
I was like, this looks
and everything.
Yeah, I was like, that looks insane, man.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. It looks so like there's always that because after Army of the Dead, because I was a little worried too because like I said, I don't think it's not his best movie. That still did very well. It was like number 2. It's like the second most streamed movie on Netflix, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think there is still interest there. So I don't think it's going to be unsuccessful at all, which is good. I was just worried about the way it was shot because the way he shot Army of the Dead was very different. So I was a little worried about how they were going to shoot the movie. But now after seeing like all the cool shots and stuff, I'm like, okay, they're going more back to like his traditional style, the way he normally shoots. Yeah. He's not doing like that blurry thing, where like super close up and it's really blurry, and it was just a weird thing that he did.
I think, talking with my friend Colin, who was in that movie. Shout out to Colin. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they had so much green screen that they had to work with. Like he told me that there was like literally like the biggest green screen he'd ever seen in his entire life. Like just it covered, like it was like 2 stories high. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and then like the just the way it had to be shot, and then like the fact that they had to digitally take out that actor and replace him with another actor. I think that's why a lot of those scenes had to be shot the way they were and like blurred and stuff.
It could be, yeah. But this one though, I think like I was already invested anyway. But like something, it looks new. That's why I'm excited. It looks different. I mean, people are gonna say that it's basically like the darker Star Wars, I guess. But I'm like, if that's the case, then like every sci-fi made after the 80s is just a knockoff darker Star Wars or Star Trek.
Yeah.
You know?
And everything came from Dune.
Yeah, it all came from Dune, which was written in what the 50s and 60s, right? Yeah. But it looks really good, and I only seen the trailer like twice, I think 2 or 3 times, and I actually pulled it up right here. I think it has 12 million views, so like I think the interest is there. So I think this is going to be successful, and it looks fantastic too.
I honestly can't wait for the people that don't really have the knowledge of it, and be like, and those people that are inevitably, there's gonna be those people, and I'm already like pre-preparing. This is knockoff Star Wars, or this is just Star Wars, and it's like technically, yeah, because it was supposed to be. It was pitched as a Star Wars story, and obviously Disney wasn't gonna have it, especially with like a giant spider lady.
I think it's for the better that it's not attached to Star Wars, because they don't have to worry about pushback about lore, people obsessed with the lore, because there isn't any, because he made it, So that's the good thing. And the runtime came out too. Apparently, part 1's only going to be a little over 2 hours long, like 2 hours 15 minutes. Since they filmed it back to back, my guess is it's like one giant movie just split in half.
Oh yeah.
So the second part might be 2.5 hours long.
Yep, and what we know about Snyder, that if it was 2 parts, there's probably like 2 more hours on the
somewhere out there.
Yeah,
2 more parts is in his on his phone somewhere. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna. That's probably my most anticipated movie, and it's been a while since we got a new movie from him. 2021 was the last one, which was for Army of the Dead. So,
that's 2021.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Wow. Yeah, it was in May. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was in May or July, one of the two. I know
it was like a summer release.
Yep. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And since I want to see it in theaters though, but I don't think it's gonna. It might be Army. Like Army did had a very limited like one weekend release somewhere.
Yeah. So
I'm hoping they do something like that for Rebel Moon, or at least select theater release for like a week or 2. I'd see it.
Oh, definitely, I would. Where I live, they just hate limited runs of anything. Like a lot of movies there's a few theaters in my area that get like very small indie films or like limited runs, but it's like I gotta drive an hour away or something like that. And I'm like, I'm not gonna drive an hour away for anything. Now, maybe if Zack Snyder's movie if Rebel Moon gets like a limited release like an hour away, yeah, I would.
Well, I think luckily where I'm at, I'm like an hour from DC. I'm an hour from Baltimore. So a lot of those places do have limited runs, but there's also in between there. There's like 3 theaters in my town alone, and one of them usually does like select showings of like very limited indie movies. So if it were to happen, that theater might pick it up, but
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, but it's never. I'm annoyed because I know that it's not gonna come out on Blu-ray, which is really annoying me. Because it's going to stay on Netflix forever. I'm not going to be able to pick it up on Blu-ray. You can't get it on 4K.
Yeah, that's the other thing too that I didn't really think of too much. But now now looking at it, I'm like maybe if it's as successful as we hope it is, and even more so, then maybe they could. But let's hope Rebel Moon gets some kind of. Do you think that if it gets as successful as it possibly can be, the studio, or at least Netflix, will kind of consider studio-approved bootlegs, pretty much?
Where it's like you can do it if they, if you order it or whatever. Like I said, I think it all depends on the other studios and what they want to do. They're also funding it.
If they want to keep it exclusive to like their streaming service and stuff like that, like I don't really see them like thinking of a reason for them to share it.
Yeah, exactly. Unless, like I said, I know Snyder's studio is involved in it, so hopefully, like his studio will be like, "Hey, we're gonna do a limited Blu-ray run that you can order online if you want it."
See, that would be nice.
Yeah, I would definitely like that.
Because like even we were talking about a few people about like boutique labels. They're starting to get a lot of rights to a lot of lesser known films or stuff like that. Or like they could even. Hopefully, they could even get into the market of hopefully acquiring like the rights to some stuff. It's obviously going to be a lot more expensive for them to do that, which is why they're able to like, eat up all of these like lesser known and more obscure films, because the rights to those movies aren't going to be as much. But considering, going back to, considering that Best Buy might opt out of the game and even Target is starting to dwindle everything down, they could easily capitalize on that. Like if they're going to be the only people or like a main source for a lot of people into getting physical copies of stuff, they could hopefully make better business and just kind of grow as companies even more to be able to get some of those rights to like some of those films.
One can hope. I mean,
One
also
can
they
dream.
can. Yeah, don't they also post? Because I know Amazon, if you're a seller, you can also post on Amazon as a seller. So a lot of these places could do that too. But since Army of the Dead never got a Blu-ray release, I don't know if this one will either. That's the
But
issue.
yeah, that's also a thing too, because Army of the Dead was huge. It was huge. I
Mhm.
mean, it even got got a spin-off, which wasn't as big. But this is why I feel like there might be some hope for Rebel Moon to get a physical release, is because of how much promo and how much of a life it's taking on, especially with the whole like prequel series
Mhm.
in the comic form. And they're also banking on him doing another one where it's just Army of the Dead never got a sequel that we know of so far. They got a prequel, but that was because of the popularity of that one character. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
they
so
they did
with-
announce a sequel to Army of the Dead, but I don't know if he's
Mhm.
working on it yet.
yeah. And so like with that, that was like a surprise hit. Whereas this one, it kind of looks like they're putting a lot more stake into it, especially with like I said, having them do the comic book thing. And then there was also the fact that there was a game creator who is suing Netflix now because of the elements that he created for the Rebel Moon game being put into the movie.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
So I mean, if they're willing to do all of that and include like a tie-in game, like
Mhm.
they're willing to back it. They got a lot of faith in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Like it seems they want it to be the next big thing, the next big franchise, and I hope it is too. Just because that'd be pretty awesome.
I really like Sophia Boutella, the main character chick. She's really cool. I think she's like, I think she also is one of those actors that I think is really good, but just hasn't gotten the proper projects to like really like project her out there,
Yeah, what was her biggest role? Wasn't she a side character in The Kingsman? I think was her.
Yeah, that
biggest
was like
role.
the first thing I saw her in. She was great in that. And then I think what kind of slowed her momentum was the Mummy movie with Tom Cruise.
Oh, she was in that.
I thought she was great as the Mummy, but
No one else liked the movie.
no one else liked the movie, but it was all right. Yeah, she's done a couple of things here and there, like Hotel Artemis. She was really good in.
This might be her her big role. Well, she's a star, so
Mhm.
so hopefully it is her big role. I know it has a stacked cast anyway, so that's good.
Yeah, I think Ray Fisher is also in there too.
Oh, he is. Yep, he is in this movie too.
I don't think they showed him in the trailer, but yeah.
No, he's not in the trailer, but I know he is. I think Snyder released a behind the scenes image of him and Ray Fisher hanging out, so he's definitely in it.
Yeah, I'm glad that he's helping him out because Ray Fisher got done dirty.
Oh my god, they took out all of his character in Justice League, and then
And then like he
after-
also got blacklisted for speaking out against all the stuff.
Yep.
Then and especially now with like how like back to like the writer strike and everything and the actor strike, that kind of shows that he had some merit to what he was saying.
oh yeah, when he said it, and then the chick who was in Buffy also said the same thing about Joss Whedon. I think it's when people kind of took him seriously. I think people thought he was too bitter because about his role getting axed and his own movie being cut out. But I mean, he took a big risk because when he spoke out, they got rid of his role from The Flash. He was supposed to be in The Flash.
Oh yeah,
right-
he's the
right
only
when
one that
they-
didn't have a cameo.
Yeah, he
Well,
didn't have
besides Henry
cameo.
Cavill.
He was. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But when they right when they started filming The Flash, they got rid of his character because I think he was supposed to be one of the people that he talks to about the whole time travel thing in the beginning. He talks to Bruce about it, but I think he was also supposed to pitch the idea to Cyborg because Cyborg is also super smart. So I think he was going to pitch the idea of like maybe it's possible, That it put him in a small scene, but it kind of sucks that they didn't even let him have that.
Yeah.
After 20 years in the business, nothing bad ever been said about Snyder. Even though he's like an alt like fascist or something, or his movies propagate that or something like that. It's so stupid.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
taking
something-
me back to 2016. This stuff about him.
Oh my god,
He's like a misogynist because of Sucker Punch and all this other stuff. But he also did 300, which is very homoerotic and has a bunch of like muscled up dudes. So what does that make him? Like, okay. It's good. I mean, it looks good. I mean, either way, maybe it's because we're biased, but I'm pretty sure we'll both enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna still end up enjoying it regardless, especially like how beautiful the movie looks. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, and that's the other reason too that I'm thinking that I'm hoping that we get some kind of physical release or some kind of like theatrical run. It's like it's got a budget behind it compared to a lot of other like Netflix stuff. It's the effects look good and there's definitely some push behind it.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's why I'm hoping that it's the next big thing. You know, we need something new in the blockbuster space anyway, so this will be good. And they already have 2 movies. You know, the first they're done, so the movies are done because he filmed them back to back and they're done filming. So we have a guaranteed 2 movies and a comic books tie-in, so that's already looking good. It's gonna bless us with some cinema.
That's what I told my buddy Colin or whatever, the one who worked with him on Army of the Dead. So I'm so like jealous of that guy. I'm like, bro, you got to work with Zack Snyder. Like,
he actually got
lucky bastard.
You guys actually got to meet him and everything too.
Yeah, he actually told me. For those watching, go back and check I think it was like the last video I did with Colin. It was like I released it like a couple of days before or after. I think it was like after Zack Snyder's birthday, and that segment was all about him when he went in for the audition for Army of the Dead, and he went to the bathroom to like get like just to make sure everything looked good or whatever, and the guy walks in. And they're just like talking, making jokes or whatever. And he's like, all right. And he's like, okay. And he just like didn't know who he was. Goes into like the audition room and it's like, oh, there's the guy that was in the bathroom with me. It's like Zack Snyder.
That's awesome.